Welcome back. Today we're going to talk about this drill press. This is a late 1930s Delta DP-220 drill press. It's seen better days. It is currently not functional. Don't know why, but I suspect it's a few things. So I acquired this drill press from a relative of my girlfriend's who I guess he passed away a few years ago, and his widow is trying to clean the basement out. So this was one of the things that nobody wanted. So I offered to rescue it. I actually have a use for a drill press. I've always wanted one. Never had the room for one. Now I do. This massive basement. The unit is, like I said, it currently is in non-running condition. It was used primarily for woodworking most of its life. It's covered in sawdust. It is fitted with a universal Craftsman motor. This is a motor that could be used for a bench grinder, a table saw. You know, these motors were often sold separately, or the tools were sold without motors and you would supply your own. This motor is what we're going to work on today. Try to get it running. So this motor here uses a centrifugal start winding, or centrifugally switched startup winding with a, I believe it has a run capacitor. It's a, should be mounted somewhere in the base, and it has a power switch, rocker switch, just a toggle switch for power. That's it. Pretty simple stuff. It's a single speed motor. Double shafted, could be used, like I said, for a drill press, and for a bench grinder. And it looks like it may have been used on another tool at one point in its life, so this could be a recycled motor. May not be original to the tool, and I'm pretty sure it's not. Actually, pretty positive it's not. These motors, this is a 1/3 horsepower. This is made by, what was it? Packard Electric made these motors. And it uses new departure ball bearings, so that'll be fun. New Departure, the same company who made bicycle parts. It's seen better days. It needs a good cleaning. Needs to be, treated with some magical chemicals. I can get rid of all of this rust pretty easily with very little effort with Evapo-Rust, my favorite liquid substance. There's a gel version that can be sprayed onto a vertical surface. I want to see how that works on the center post. But we need to get this thing running first. The wiring is shot. The bearings are probably in need of some help. I don't know if I'll be able to salvage those. But yeah, it's a nice old tool, and I want to see it work again. I might restore it someday, but that's not going to be today. It's definitely had a few bolts replaced. This thing is, it's been around the block. It's probably seen some serious work in its time. It's missing the knob that goes on the end of this handle, which that's nothing. I can make something that'll fit that. Thinking about acquiring an 8-ball or something like that and drilling it out. Wouldn't that be cool? An 8-ball. I also have this. This is a fixture that was probably custom made for a very specific application. It's definitely something that is somewhat modified, so to speak. It's definitely been modified from its original form. But this is a fixture that would be used to hold parts during the drilling process. And I did notice, I believe this is what they call a production base. So it was used in a very specific application, probably drilling holes in all the same parts. Now, I'm going to have to probably unmodify this fixture so that it'll bolt onto the base properly. Not really sure exactly what I'm going to have to do here. I'll have to take a closer look at it, but it's definitely definitely unique. So you've got these clamps, and they open and close, these little jaws, and then there's jaws on the horizontal axis. So yeah, I have to figure out how that once or could be mounted to this table, or if it can be at all. I don't know, but it's certainly special. Certainly special. Hell, it may not even go to this. I got it. It came with a drill press. It was part of the deal, so I took it, and here it is. But yeah, I'm looking at the mounting. It just there's no clear-cut way for it to mount properly. So I'm wondering if maybe the guy had plans of someday using this fixture, but no idea. No idea. Definitely a conundrum. Does it go? I mean, it definitely can't. It's not meant to go this way. That's for sure. Well, anyway, let's get this motor off. See what we can do about getting it running. It currently does nothing. You plug in the power cord, and nothing's happening. Nobody's home. So let's take a look. All right. So I went down and I grabbed some mouse tools, and let's see what it will take to get this beast running again. For starters, we need to remove the motor and belt. So that looks like it can be accomplished with a little bit of love. Alright, so I need to loosen up these bolts here. I'm not such a good judge of bolt sizes anymore, especially the American kind. So when you plug it in, as it is, it doesn't do a thing. It just does nothing. So, oh boy. Oh, this is going to be a nightmare to work on. I just know it. Alright, so that's how that's done. Now we'll get the bolt off. There we go. Okay. Alright. Nextly, so it looks like we can take the whole motor off by sliding that assembly out like this. I probably shouldn't grab it by the pulley. There we go. There we are. What is the problem with this motor? Well, we could probably find the answer to that by removing the... Oh wow, this has a new departure bearing set on this motor. New Departure was a company that made hub assemblies for bicycles, and I think a bunch of other bicycle parts back in the day. Let me grab a flat blade. At least I think this is where the winding wiring meets the... Yeah, there we go. Okay. This is where you can connect your power cord if you're just powering the motor that way. All right. I'm gonna have to take the base off. All right, folks. So we had a bit of a technical problem. I lost a bunch of footage. In this part, what we're doing is we're actually replacing the power cord to this motor. So let me explain to you what really happened. So I got the cover off the base of the motor, and it revealed a flat capacitor. That's my run capacitor. That capacitor is one of those old-fashioned PCB filled capacitors that you might find in antique fans and motors and other things. They're not really a hazard unless they're leaking. So what we're doing is we've already cut the power cord off. What I found was the wiring was actually very dangerous. The wiring was so bad that the rubber insulation inside the on the wires themselves was actually falling off, revealing bare wire. As a matter of fact, there was some bare wire touching the underside of that capacitor, which is pretty bad. So what I've done is I've salvaged an old extension cord that I had lying around, and well, I'm just soldering those wires on to the switch, and I'm shrink tubing and soldering everything. That's how I do my wiring these days, and it's helped me avoid a lot of very tricky situations in the devices that I fixed. We're also going to be adding a ground lead. There never was one before. We're just going to ground the motor frame to the ground lead when we reassemble it. So let's just kind of get on with that. So, fix that. I put the motor back together again after replacing the power cord, plugged it in, and nothing happened. Yeah, so we need to dig a little bit deeper. Let's recap. We did replace the dangerous wiring, and I resecured the wires going to the run capacitor because they were pretty weak, and it still ain't going. So what's going on here? We got to pull the motor apart and do some more investigating. Now, even with a bad run capacitor, let's say that's the case, it should still try to start, but it's doing nothing. So let's tear that motor cover apart and see what's really going on in there. I suspect the centrifugal switch possibly being the culprit. Let's take a look. Okay, I had to swap out my battery. Thank God I have two of them. All right. Let's see what's going on here. Now, in this position, you should have no continuity. If I close this, it seems to be pretty good. So that's not the problem. How about this one here? This is the breaker switch, or I believe it's the breaker, and I get nothing. So I think I found the problem. All right, let's pop that apart and see. There's like a little breaker thing in there. And what do we got? So, yeah, it's got a little button so that when this overheats, it's supposed to break the contact. I think. Okay. But there's more. Ah, that's it. So that's the reset position. Okay. Yeah. Aha, there we go. So now this bimetallic coil heats up, it releases. But that, my friends, is more than likely what was going on here. Right now, if I test across those two leads, I guarantee you I'll get continuity. It was stuck open. That's it. Found the problem. Now let's see if we can get it back together again and get it working. I think I got it. So what I did is I put that wiring block into position where it would be if it were assembled, and I looked at every wire to see where it would naturally. Knock it off! Please? Alright, let's see if we succeeded. There we are. Belt's all good and secure. Motor spins freely. The whole thing kind of works a little bit. Alright, let's see what happens when you throw the switch. Ready? Doesn't sound too bad at all. Okay, spoiler alert, although I've already alerted the spoil, or whatever. This is not the first time I've turned the motor on. I did in fact bench test this motor before putting it on the drill press, but something happened with my camera and I lost that too. I don't know what happened. But you can see this is a very dangerous machine to run. It has an open belt. It wasn't very long after this was made that they made the belt shroud a standard feature. It covers the whole thing. But the 1930s models, pre-war, did not have a belt shroud. Nor did they have any sort of serial number. So they didn't even put serial numbers on these. But the chuck and the great drill pressy parts are spinning quite nicely. Everything's working as it should. I did lubricate the bearings with motor oil. It has quieted them down substantially, but they should be taken apart and greased properly. Believe me, I know that is something that has to be done. I've got to take this motor back apart at some point and get that done. I'll put a new belt on it too. This belt is very old, although it seems to be working just fine. Actually sounds pretty good. For something that's about 75 years old or 80 years old, it's running okay. Now this motor is not 80 years old, but everything else is. Yeah, you got to be real careful not to get your fingers caught in that belt, because that would really ruin your day in a bad way. It's got a counter spring here that helps hold the not the whole drill head, but the chuck anyway, and the tool, so that you don't really have to put too much effort in keeping it in position. But yeah, this is something that I'm sure a lot of fingers were lost in these machines. It does have a nice depth gauge built right in, and it can be adjusted or calibrated by moving this indicator up and down. It's just press fit in there, that's all. Raise it and lower it as needed. I'm probably going to go ahead and repaint all of this at some point, but that's not really a priority. It's been painted before. You know, someone's already gone and ruined its original patina, so that's not a big concern for me. But the paint's actually in pretty good shape otherwise. I think if I just clean it up a little bit, you know. You can change the drill speed on this pretty easily. All you got to do is shut the motor off. And then what we're going to do is you should probably disconnect the power too. Probably not a bad idea, because you never know. And I think you're supposed to just walk the belt off the pulley. It's probably better without the camera being in the way here. Let's put the camera down for a second here. And then what we're gonna do, I think I have too much tension on that belt. Anyway, forget it. Anyway, you can reduce the tension a little bit on that belt, so that way you have the ability to just ride it up the pulley and, you know, as needed. But what you're supposed to do is keep the belt, you know, on the same level pulley, right? So we have it on its second slowest speed. This one would be its lowest, second lowest, highest, you know, second highest. You get the idea. But I think you're supposed to you know, be able to just ride it up the pulley rim, and then you can, anyway, walk it back. And I think I screwed up. I think I have the keyed side on wrong on this pulley. I should probably remount that. But anyway, there it is. My I think it's like a 38, 37, 38, 39 Delta drill press. And I believe this is a design that Delta acquired from there's a company that they bought up that was making drill presses, and I can't think of the name of the company right now, but man, it'll come to me as soon as I stop filming. There it is, baby. Yeah, the old beast. Now, in another video, we'll talk about this. Now, this is a 1973 Craftsman. Other than a little bit of surface rust on this table, which can be easily taken care of. This sucker is immaculate. It is in absolutely mint condition. This is a quality table saw from when they were building quality tools at a reasonable price. Still has its original tag on this fence, which is incredible. It's got all the attachments. Everything works. Runs great. Very lightly used. Kept in a nice heated basement its entire life. I mean, even has its original belt. And it still has the original Craftsman belt with the old 1970s Craftsman logo on it. This thing has lived an easy life, and just a little dusty right now. I've already cleaned it once. Dust is like falling out of crevices in this thing. Sawdust. It's got its original motor. I think this is an Emerson motor. The whole saw was made by Emerson Electric, and or Emerson something, Emerson Specialty Tools or something like that. But it's still got its old original motor and stand, and it has one table extension. I have the original sales slip that confirms that it was ordered with one table extension. There's all the paperwork right there. So, yeah. So there's that. And, you know, I just realized something. In this box is a manual for a Craftsman grinder that I don't have. Is it possible that this could be the manual for that motor? Is that possible? No, this is no, this is not the case. How to select and install electric motors. Oh, this is just a motor guide, and this is probably what was used to help the person who bought the saw select the right motor. And that's helpful. So that's the manual for the motor, but I could have sworn I saw a manual for a Craftsman bench grinder. Oh, here it is. Bench saw. No, that's for this. Never mind. Anyway, got a little excited there for a sec. All right, well, that's going to conclude our video. And stay tuned. I'll do something on this table saw at some point. Hopefully I don't cut my hands off with it. That would suck.